Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Kate Truitt, and I'm here today with Jen Varela for a very special Happy Mother's Day video series. So, Jen is a pediatric sleep consultant as well as a certified gentle sleep coach. She is the founder of Sugar Night Night and also co-author of the book. And I love this name, Jen, Love to Sleep. And thank you so much for coming here today. It is such a gift. And I'd just like to invite you to share a little bit about why this conversation started between us and what you're here to share with us.
Yeah, well, we met when we were both on a panel or summit, and it was just a really great conversation about the importance of co-regulation and how we regulate our children or dysregulate our children.
Right.
And how that plays into strategies with helping your little one to get those skills to self-soothe at bedtime. And I was just fascinated by the Havening techniques and wanted to learn a little bit more about that, as well as how could those translate to my clients, the parents that are struggling with getting their little ones to sleep.
Yeah, and the idea we know of sleep is so important. We know how critical sleep is, both for our little ones and their precious developing brains, and also for our parents.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just talking with a girlfriend the other day, and she has a little one about 6 months old.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just going to lead in with this question because this
Sure.
is something that she's really struggling with a little bit of how much sleep do babies need? And within that same context, when babies are napping, do they need to be in their crib? Can they be held and cradled? Because she's shared with me that's really regulating for her, but she's like, oh, is this okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on those two pieces.
Those are probably the most common questions that I get, right? Okay. Can you spoil or break a baby by tending to your baby, right? Like helping them. So first and foremost, when a baby feels safe and secure, then they are going to sleep better. And this is really your expertise on how the brain relaxes, right? And all that. So having a little one who's sleeping in your arms when they're really little, under 6 months of age, what's more important is establishing good attachment and feeds, and then any expectations with possible skills with self-soothing or any of that. So they're first learning all their information with their senses: smell, taste, touch, sight, and hearing, right? So there's an exorbitant amount of brain growth that's happening in that first 8 months of life. And so a big part of that is they are hardwiring that information into long-term memory during REM sleep. And so when you look at baby sleep during the day, I always say not normal is normal, because you're going to get a 20-minute nap, you're going to get a 40-minute nap, a 2-hour nap, right? Today was a 4-nap day, tomorrow's a 5-nap day. And so what's more important is that they're getting enough sleep in the day to get all that brain development and rest. And if they are feeling safe and secure in your arms, they're going to get that rest that they need. So when looking at the hierarchy of priorities, it's about getting enough sleep, right? Then any expectations that come with an ability to do that independently. Now, I know that can be exhausting for parents. So I definitely have strategies and ways that you can address that. But as far as, is it the wrong thing to do? I'm going to say for some temperaments of babies, it may be the only and absolute right.
That was me as a baby. Mom could not put me down. Yeah, I wasn't having it.
And I'm going to tell you, those smart babies are the ones. And the reason why is because they're taking everything in, and they are like too much information for their little developmental emotional state. And so they need us to regulate them. So I just want to say the most important thing is that they feel safe and secure. Then you know they're getting the sleep they need. So how much sleep that they need, the National Sleep Foundation has broken that out, so you can check them out on what different age breakdowns. But they don't break it down between day and night sleep, which I thought was fascinating. They just said sleep in a 24 hours. And I'm glad that they did that, because there's tricky sleepers and easy sleepers, right? And so often that, on alert baby is the trickiest to get sleep. So the National Sleep Foundation recommends from 0 to the end of the 3rd month that they're getting between 14 and 17 hours in a 24 hours.
So they're like cats.
Say that again.
So they're like cats. We should just, they're like cats.
Yeah.
0 to 3 months, it's like a cat. Let them. Yeah. Okay.
There we go. So then between 4 and 11 months, they're recommending between 12 and 15 hours in a 24. So I like to kind of help the parents relax a little bit and not get so panicked about, oh my gosh, that was a short nap, right? Let's look at it in the big chunk, right? And let's just make sure they're getting enough sleep. There is one terrific strategy by Dr. Polly Moore, and she calls it the NAPS system. So it's NAPS. And this is terrific for babies under 6 months of age. And it has to do with awake windows, because when a little one is awake too long, it will lead to fussiness, overtired, that cortisol surge that kicks in, that gives them a second wind. Some babies, like my son Zeb, just got funnier and happier and party on, right? And some babies, like my daughter Molly, just lost her ever living mind, right? Can't pull it together. So we want to avoid cortisol. So rather than trying to get too worried about the 12-hour clock, using this nap systems, I find can help parents just to kind of relax, right? So you note the time the baby wakes up, you add 90 minutes, you play, feed, interact, and then you soothe the baby back to sleep. So just watching that 90-minute window for little ones under 6 months of age can really make a big difference to make sure you're not missing an opportunity for sleep, because not all babies are going to give you those sleepy cues to let you know it's time. And you may have just slipped right over that waterfall of cortisol, and then you have to wait until that gets out of their system, and then you'll get another opportunity.
So it's been ages 0 to 6 months.
It's a pretty safe bet. Now,
it
could
be really mindful of that 90-minute window where they sleep, they wake up, we play, feed, interact, and then we soothe back to sleep all within 90 minutes. That's a good framework for parents to hold on to.
Yep.
And then to try to do our darndest to set our framework by that. And then they'll be getting that, would say 14 to 17 hours of sleep that the infant really needs.
Yeah. So you don't get so panicked when you get one of those little short naps. And, obviously try to get them back to sleep, take 10 or 15 minutes. But, you could spend your whole day in a dark room and get really discouraged and depressed if you're trying to get these crazy long naps that may or may not be in your control. And that awake window will shift, by the way. So at 6 months, it'll become between 2 and 2.5 hours. At 9 months, it's about 3 hours. And then by the time you get to 12 months, it's 4 hours that they can be awake.
Right. And at that point, then it sounds like once we get to that 11 to 12 month marker, that's where we might start looking towards engaging in some more self-soothing. But before that, it's really just the parent creating, and I love what you said there. And the neurological side, it's our amygdala's sense of safety. She has 3 core values. Am I safe? Am I loved? And can I be successful? And obviously that changes across the lifetime. So successful for an infant is, can my brain and body grow the way it needs to? Is it nurtured?
Right. Yeah. So I find at 6 months is where the research shows that making an effort to get those self-soothing skills have a long-term benefit. And object permanence is in place. And so their ability to know you still exists. So I find 6 months can be a good place to start looking at some general strategies on helping them get those skills. But it's never too late. I work with families all the way up to end of the 5th year. So, don't miss it. You can't miss the window. We can get you there.
And are these tools? I know we could, we can talk for 4 hours with you, Jen, to unpick your brain, but are those tools in your Love to Sleep book? Is that where our listeners can find you? Okay. And that's available on Amazon. I've linked that down below. And for now, we're going to just move into a gentle wrap up, and then we'll be having another conversation with Jen with toddlers here. So stay tuned for that video, that interview. And, just if you don't go check out our book, do. It's wonderful. And at least give yourself permission to work within the bigger picture of your baby's sleep cycle, as this is an important, valuable time. And when you're calm, they're calm.
Right. Yep.
So thank you, Jen, so much for your time
Thanks for having me. Let's do it again.
Happy Mother's Day. We will. And happy Mother's
Day
to you. I can see your
be
little
good
ones
to
in the
yourself.
background there.
All right. Bye.
Talk soon.